Hi, I'm Coach Dreifuss from Radical MMA. I'm the head instructor for the MMA and the self-defense program. I'm here to talk about how realistic the fight scenes are in movies. First up, it's a clip from John Wick. And he does a De La Riva sweep, which is a jiu-jitsu move, and he does knee on the belly, also a jiu-jitsu move. That is not realistic. He did an arm lock standing, which he did, here. The scenes look a little bit more Aikido. Oh, great hip throw. Okay, yeah, and the clip is over. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of the premier martial arts that make up mixed martial arts, and it is known for its control on the ground. And knee on the belly is one of its standard control positions. He used that. He also used the mount position. Very, very common in actual fighting. However, there was one scene where he sort of did some more cinematic Aikido type moves, which are not so effective from that distance in that situation. Also, he did an arm lock standing and he broke the person's arm. That arm lock would never break someone's arm. Obviously, the movies are more to entertain, so there has to be some entertainment element, but they struck a very nice balance between entertainment and realism. The next clip is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So here's weapon combat, spear and sword. Cinematic fighting that they show here is exactly that. Great flexibility. Kip up, great move. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a great example of the stylistic performance side of martial art movies. Sword fighting is much dirtier, grittier, and in your face, as you can see in any actual combat. The other thing is they're showing things that are not humanly possible, like smashing an entire table in half. Great movie, but not so realistic at all. The next clip is Casino Royale. Okay, interesting. I wouldn't say completely unrealistic. Okay. Now, yeah, interesting. He puts his jacket on to defend a weapon, which is actually a very smart move. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's kind of what a fight looks like. Okay, they're wrestling around, right, excellent. Puts on a rear naked choke. Not the best choke, old school, but it's okay, it still works. Yeah, okay, yeah, interesting. What James Bond does is uses his jacket to deflect the machete that he's being attacked with. That's actually pretty common in what you want to do when somebody comes at you with a knife, is try to get some sort of shield, especially your jacket around your arm, to stop yourself from getting cut. There's some upper body grappling where they're smashing against the wall. This was kind of looked a more gritty and real, and he finished with the choke, which is a real legitimate rear naked choke. Pretty good attempt at showing a fight scene that is more realistic than cinematic, and had some moves that were legitimately real moves. Oh yes, I know, this is kick-ass. Completely hokey. Okay, that was a flying armbar, and she's doing kind of like a pro wrestling thing now. Well, obviously, throwing someone into a table does hurt. Very entertaining if you want to see something movement-oriented and looks good on the screen, but very little reality here. Force equals mass times acceleration. Without enough mass, which people under the age of 18 generally don't have that much mass, so the amount of force that she can generate is extremely limited. That being said, sometimes leverage can be an equalizer, a force equalizer, and at one point she does do a flying armbar, which is a jiu-jitsu move or judo move as well, and that can have a lot of leverage behind it, where a smaller, weaker person, even a child, could break an adult's arm. But generally speaking, a very unrealistic but entertaining fight scene. The Matrix. Okay, the punches he's throwing, the moves he's doing, the way he's blocking, it doesn't work like that. And kicking at angles which there's absolutely no ability to generate sufficient force, and blocking a punch like this is not realistic. Entertaining, but complete and pure fantasy. The next clip is from Inception. It's hard to comment on a fight scene where there's no gravity. And they are kind of grabbing each other, which is what would happen in a fight. And there's a hook, which that's kind of real. Not technical, but that was a real fight. He's trying to wrist lock, and very poorly. That was actually interesting because obviously there's a fantasy or sci-fi setting. The way they're approaching combat, it seems like they tried to put something a little bit more realistic in there. He threw a hook like this. That was actually how an untrained fighter would fight. So it's interesting to see that whether it's Jason Bourne or John Wick or some of the newer movies coming out, when they want to depict a person who's supposed to be trained as a fighter, they're really drawing more on what you see in MMA and seeing what actual violence looks like. As an MMA instructor, it is very nice to see what I do reflected on the screen. I think it's good to be more realistic than fantastic.